Jinendra Rajesh, sir.
Hey, Jinendra. So today we are going to start from 44.
Okay.
अरेहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति कायद को नमाए स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम से काज सब आज भयो कर चोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते ओ मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। ओ मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So yesterday we began the chapter on the minor vows. The first one was Ahinsanu Vrat, non-violence minor vow. Okay, and under that we have done 41, 42, 42, 43. Today we will be starting with 44, and it starts with the defining characteristics of hinsa, that is violence or injury, and ahimsa, non-violence, from the standpoint of Nischay are stated here. So this is the most important definition you will find across all jinagam of hinsa. What is hinsa? Certainly the non-manifestation of rag and the rest. Okay, so rag is attachment, aversion, then all kinds of passions, toxic emotions, etc., etc. you can take. The non-manifestation of rag and the rest is ahimsa. So that means the manifestation of detachment, vitrakta. Okay. Manifestation of rag is ahimsa. Manifestation of rag is hinsa. Non-manifestation of rag is ahimsa. And the very arising of those states is hinsa. This is the concise essence of the jinagam. Okay. So what is ahimsa? Ahimsa means passionlessness, detachment. Okay. And that is only manifested when there is non-manifestations of rag, attachment, aversions, and other kinds of passions. Okay. And when there is a manifestation of attachment, aversion, and other passions, it is called hinsa. So generally we believe hinsa to be like killing others, injuring others. Okay? No. Here it says that from the real point of view, the hinsa is the non-manifestation of, manifestations of rag and dvesh is hinsa, and non-manifestation of rag and dvesh is ahimsa, which is also called vitragta. Okay, so based on this definition, the further all the discussions in this particular chapter will be based on. So wherever there is a manifestation of passions, toxic emotions, attachments, aversions, alien disposition, auspicious sentiments, inauspicious sentiments, you go on saying the universe. Okay. So it is all called hinsa. So basically, we connect hinsa to outside killing of animals and humans and all. But here it says hinsa is the manifestation of attachments, aversions, toxic emotions. That is the real hinsa. Now, who can realize this hinsa? That killing somebody is hinsa, of course, but saving somebody, okay, the emotions of saving, okay, is hinsa. The emotion of uh, what I was saying, the emotions of saving is hinsa, and the emotions of auspicious sentiment, okay, auspicious sentiment is also hinsa. Now, this is one of the unique thing that we find in Jainism only. All other religions say that saving somebody is religion, but here says saving somebody is also a hinsa, because it is again an auspicious attachment. So any kind of attachment, auspicious or inauspicious, is hinsa, violence. Okay. So this is the best definition. We will see further. Slightly take it down. Commentary. From the standpoint of Nischay, so this is the definition from the Nischay. The non-manifestation of states such as rag alone constitutes ahimsa. Non-manifestation, okay? Injury to one's own pranas in the form of shuddhopyog occurs through states such as rag and the like. So rag, dvesh, attachments, aversions, passions, all this. Therefore, the absence of rag and allied states alone is ahimsa. By the term adi, all vibhav bhavas, alien dispositions, such as rag, dvesh, moh, kam, kam means desire, krodh, anger, man, pride, maya, deceit, lobh, greed, hasya, laughter, शोक, grief, bhai, fear, jugupsa, disgust, pramad, negligence, and the rest are to be understood. All these are vibhav bhavas, alien dispositions, toxic emotions, and when these are manifested, there is injury to one's own bhav pran, that is shuddhopyog. Okay, you are not able to manifest shuddhopyog. Okay, now each is being explained. Okay, each of the passions is being explained. Their characteristics are stated as follows. Considering something as agreeable to oneself and the arising of a disposition in the form of affection is rag. Considering something as disagreeable to oneself and the arising of a disposition in the form of aversion is desh, dvesh. The arising of a disposition of identity and possessiveness towards external dravya is moh. Next page. Yes. The disposition in the form of sexual activity is kam, desire. Knowing that another has acted improperly and producing a disposition that causes suffering to the other is krodh. Considering oneself superior to others is man, pride. The absence of alignment between mind, speech, and body is maya. Maya is deceit. The disposition in the form of desire to establish relationships with external dravya is lobh, greed. On seeing pleasant or unpleasant gestures, The arising of an expanded disposition is hasya, laughter. When an agreeable object is lost, the arising of an afflicted disposition is sok. Considering something as harmful to oneself and producing a disposition of withdrawal is bhai, fear. The disposition of repulsion is jugupsa. Disrespect or negligence towards beneficial activity is pramad. All such vibhav bhavas, alien disposition, are modes of hinsa. Their absence alone is ahimsa. All such vibhav bhavas are modes of hinsa and their absence alone is ahimsa. The very arising of those states such as rag is hinsa. This is the concise essence of the Jain doctrine. Iti Jinagamasya Sankshep. Okay. Bhavat. The Jain doctrine is vast. However, in brief, it is only this. The defining characteristics of dharma is ahimsa, and the absence of states such as rag alone, rag, etc. alone is ahimsa. Etc. you can add Darshiji, rag, comma, etc. Yes. Therefore, in whatever way and to whatever extent possible, one should destroy states such as rag through turning inward. How do you destroy rag? How do you destroy rag? Through turning inward. Swabhav Sanmukh. Okay. From time immemorial, our active consciousness is engaged on external objects. Now you have to turn that inward towards yourself, the soul. And when it gets one with the soul, that is the time the self-realization happens. And that is the beginning of the ahimsa. That is the beginning of the path of liberation. Now, the next 45. Before that, there is one question. Why is the defining characteristics of hinsa not stated as causing injury to the pranas of other jivas? Why is the defining characteristics of hinsa stated as causing injury to the pranas of other jivas? Okay. Physical injury to other jivas. Answer. Because such a definition incurs both the defects of overextension and underextension. Okay. So overextension is extra pervasive and overextension and underextension. Underextension is less pervasive. Okay. Extra pervasive and less pervasive. Here it is written overextension and underextension. Overextension and underextension. Okay. For that, I had given you one reference. Tattvagyan Pathmala Part 1, Chapter 3. Characteristics and pseudo characteristics. We had read it. I am not going to explain it again, but it says that there are three kinds of defects. Okay. If these three defects are there, then that would not stand as a characteristic. Okay. For having a flawless characteristics, it should be free from defects of overextension, underextension, and impossible. These are the three defects. What is overextension? In Hindi, it is called Ati Vyapti. Okay. So, what is the Lakshya here? Lakshya means the object. The object to define here is hinsa, violence. Okay. And what is the characteristics of that lakshya? The characteristics is par pran pida. Okay. So if we consider par pran pida, injury to others, as the characteristics of hinsa, then there will be defect of overextension, because there are some arguments being given in the next verse that we will see 45, 46, 40. Yeah, these two words. So first one is 45, where they are explaining the defect of overextension. Okay. First we will read the verse and then we will come to the explanation. Even when injury to pranas occurs, that means physical violence has been done. For a virtuous person of proper conduct, without the intrusion of states such as rag, hinsa never arises. So what it says, that even when injury to pranas occurs, so accidentally you were walking very diligently with carefulness, and suddenly one insect comes and dies below the feet of yours. Since you were walking carefully, this will not be a hinsa to you. You will not incur the sins of violence. Why? Physically, the insect has been killed. So there is a clear-cut hinsa. But say, no, this is not the criteria of defining hinsa. The criteria is the manifestation of attachments, aversions, negligence, okay, then desires, then anger, pride, deceit, greed. All these toxic emotions are the characteristics of hinsa. So when these gets manifested, it is hinsa, even if the externally you have harmed somebody or not, but internally if you have manifested these dispositions, then it is hinsa. Okay. So here let's see what kind of defect is this one. Overextension. So even when injury to pranas occurs, means you have already harmed to somebody, maybe you have killed also. For a virtuous person like monk, when the monks walk, they walk looking all the ways, and they ensure that not a single insect is being killed because of their negligence. They are so alert. Okay. In spite of that alertness, a small insect flying, suddenly the monk was about to keep leg on the ground and it came in between. The monk would not be held responsible for the violence. He will not be punished. Why? Because he was taking due care. Okay. And there is another person who is walking, looking at left and right and here and there. He's not looking at the downside on the road. Okay. And he does not kill any of the insects. Still, he is responsible for the violence done because he was not careful. So that means, what is the criteria of violence? Whether there is negligence or not, whether there is toxic emotions or not, whether there is attachment, aversion, passions are there or not. If these are manifested, it is immaterial, it is secondary whether somebody gets killed or doesn't get killed. But you have definitely killed your soul's internal purity. Okay. And that is a hinsa of the self. Now, this is a very subtle definition. We don't know all the time. We are sometimes laughing unnecessarily. Sometimes we are developing a feeling of attachment, sometimes aversions, and we don't know we are indulging in violence. We are binding karmas. We don't know. Okay. So this definition is very important. Let's see it more clearly. Certainly for saintly persons like monk, whose conduct is grounded in proper, careful endeavor, without the entry of states of such as rag, mere injury to the pranas of another jiva never becomes hinsa. Okay. Mere injury to the pranas of another jiva never becomes hinsa. So, completely different definition, Now the bhavarth, intended meaning. Great persons may be absorbed in meditation or may be moving about with attentive and careful effort. Now these are very important words. Attentive and careful effort. If on some occasion, due to bodily contact, the pranas of some jeev are injured, even then there is no fault of hinsa in them. They are not responsible for manifesting hinsa, okay? Because there is no kashai in their inner disposition, okay? They don't have attachment, they don't have aversion, they don't have passions, nothing. So they are considered not to indulging in hinsa, okay? Therefore, even when injury to the pranas of another jeev occurs, it is not called hinsa. Hence, the defect of overextension applies. Okay. Now, the next verse will be underextension. This was ativyapti dosh. Now, avyapti dosh. You have to read that chapter to understand this. I will not make you understand right now this one. Okay. The defect of underextension is stated here. In the state of outward activity, when conduct proceeds under the control of states such as rag, etc., again, etc., whether a jeev dies or not, hinsa certainly occurs. Okay. In the state of outward activity, when conduct proceeds under the control of states such as rag, etc., whether a jeev dies or not, hinsa certainly occurs, because you have already manifested the states of attachments, aversions, passions, etc. Okay. So dying or physically dying of the jeev is not, it's not mandatory. Okay. Only if you have manifested attachment aversion, then it is hinsa. If you have manifested negligence, then it is hinsa. Okay. Go further down, we'll read the commentary also. When being under the control of rag and elite states, okay, rag and elite states, one engages in activities such as rising, sitting, and the like, whether a jeev dies or does not die, hinsa certainly runs ahead inevitably, because he is manifesting rag and elite states. Okay. So there, if physically somebody may die or may not die, but hinsa has been done. Okay. Now you plan to kill somebody. Whether he gets killed or not, that is a immaterial. But you have planned, so you have indulged in hinsa. You have bonded the karma of hinsa. Okay. So subtle is Jainism. Can you imagine? Bhavarth. When a negligent jeev, so the jiva is negligent and not careful, being under the sway of kashais, passions, does not engage in movement and other activities with careful effort. Does not engage with careful effort. Or while rising and sitting undergoes transformation in the form of krodh and elite states, anger and elite states, all kinds of passions. Then whether another jeev dies or does not die is incidental, secondary. Yet due to the presence of kashai, the fault of hinsa certainly applies. This is to say, even when the pranas of another jeev are not injured. Hinsa is said to occur due to the presence of pramad, negligence. Therefore, definition suffers from the defect of underextension, avyapti. Now a question. The question is the answer. The answer will be coming in the next verse, verse number 47. Before that, this question is put up for verse number 47. The meaning of hinsa is injury. But how can hinsa be said to occur without injuring the pranas of a jeev? Okay. The meaning of hinsa is injury. Okay. But this is not the real meaning. Okay. The meaning of hinsa in reality is the manifestation of attachments, aversions, and other kinds of passions. Okay. But how can hinsa be said to occur without injuring the pranas of a jeev? The answer is stated here. 47 verse. Okay. Because a jeev being accompanied by kashay, being accompanied by negligence, being accompanied by attachments, aversions, auspicious, inauspicious, all kinds of alien disposition, first injures itself by itself. Yesterday we were talking that when you manifest passions, you are the first one who is getting injured. Violence is being created in you. That is the first loss. Now, what will happen to the other is a different thing. It depends on his punya and pap. Okay? But since you have manifested anger, you have manifested pride, you are the sufferer because it first injures yourself. Okay? First injures itself by itself. Thereafter, injury to other living may or may not occur. Okay. So injury to other being may or may not occur. Now we move on to the commentary. Because a jiva, when accompanied by kashay, first injures itself through itself. Okay. Thereafter, injury to other living beings may or may not occur. This is the same repetition. Bhavat would also be a same, but we will still see it. Hinsa indeed means injury. Okay. However, injury is of two kinds. One is injury to oneself, okay, atmaghata, and the other is injury to another, paraghata. Atmaghat is self-injury and parghat is injury to others. When this atma, by transforming into states of kashay, brings about its own harm. So when you are manifesting, yesterday we were also talking about forgiveness. Okay. So if you forgive, if you ask for forgiveness, you are going to be benefited because you are getting rid of your anger and pride. Okay. So this is a very, very important tool in the path of liberation. Okay. You should not hesitate in saying sorry. The moment you occur a mistake, you say sorry. Okay. And not only you say sorry, but you mean also. And you also take vows or ensure that next time such mistakes doesn't happen. Then only it's sorry. Otherwise, it's not a sorry also. Okay. So hinsa indeed means injury. However, injury is of two kinds. One is injury to oneself, atmagat, and the other is injury to another, parghat. When this atma, by transforming into states of kashay, passions, then attachments, aversions, auspicious, inauspicious sentiments, all alien disposition brings about its own harm. What is the injury here? You know, what is our own harm? we are not able to manifest the pure manifestation. That is the biggest harm. When we manifest attachment, aversion, passions, that is the time we don't manifest vitrakta. Okay. So Bhavat, injuries of two kinds. Achha, when this Atma, by transforming into states of Kashai, brings about its own harm, injury to oneself has already occurred first. Thereafter, if the lifespan of another jiva has come to an end, or if the fruition of its demerits arises, then injury to that jiva may also occur. Okay, injury to that jiva may also occur. If its lifespan has not ended, okay, if its lifespan has not ended, or if the fruition of its demerit has not arisen, then who can cause its destruction? But when you are manifesting passions, your destruction has been done. Now, what about the other? Depend. If he is having a rise of merit karma, he won't get affected. If it's a rise of, if his lifespan has not ended, he will not get affected. Okay? Because injury to that jiva is dependent upon its own karma. Here the fault lies in one's own inner states. Thus, with respect to injury to oneself, hinsa has certainly already occurred in activity accompanied by pramad. Okay, so pramad, we can include passions also, attachment also, aversion also, toxic emotions also, auspicious, inauspicious, everything you can include in this pramad. Okay, so the definition of hinsa is, when there is a pramad, there is hinsa. When there is no pramad, then in spite of being having physical injury externally, there is no hinsa. You are not responsible for that bondage. Okay, so this is the definition of hinsa, true definition, real point of view definition. Let's take it further. Yes. Yes. The absence of abstention from hinsa itself is hinsa. Okay. And transformation into states of hinsa is also hinsa. So hinsa is of two types, aviraman and parinaman. Parinaman means you are manifesting into physical violence. So that is hinsa anyways. But the other one, the absence of abstention from hinsa itself is hinsa. So you are not doing any hinsa, but you have not renounced also. Okay. So then it is a hinsa. So this is to be understood very nicely, because unnecessarily we bind so many karmas due to our ignorance. Okay. So this has to be understood in detail. What is this aviraman roop hinsa? Where physically you are not causing any hinsa, but since you have not renounced, you are incurring hinsa. Okay. Let's see what it says. Injury to another jiva is of two kinds. One in the form of non-abstention, okay, aviraman roop, and the other in the form of transformation, paridaman roop. Okay. Bhavat. Aviraman roop hinsa. At a time when a jiva is not actively engaged in injuring another jiva, but is engaged in some other activity, yet has not renounced hinsa. Okay. So he is presently not indulging in any violence, but he has not renounced hinsa. He has not taken the vows, minor vows. Okay. Then he is incurring hinsa anyways. Okay. So you should take this rules, by yourself. That now, supposing next 4 hours you are not going to eat anything. So you can take that way pachkan, that I will not eat anything for 4 hours. Okay. And within that 4 hours, you don't eat. So it's another kind of vows. Okay. So it's
So
illustrated.
Sorry, sir. So this pachkan needs to be very formal, like say, or we can just sit
Your
and have
decision,
a...
your decision is your pachkan. You have
Okay.
decided I will not have it, so it's a pachkan in itself.
Excuse me,
Oh,
sir.
okay,
Can I
sir.
add one more with that?
Mhm.
After taking Bhajagan, you now Navkar mantra 9 times you have to tell. Confirm that you are taking it.
Yeah, you can also do it that way, and you can
Okay.
also have the firm decision about that I will not have it. So your firmness itself is a pachkan. Okay.
So Rajesh sir, I have a question.
Yes.
If you take this vow
Mhm.
and then you say you're not going to eat for 4 hours and you've taken the
Not
vow,
wow.
but
Actually, niyam they'll call.
Yeah.
Niyam.
Niyam.
okay, you've taken this
Rule.
niyam.
Rule. Yeah.
Niyam.
Yeah, so you've taken this niyam, and then what happens is that in those 4 hours, your mind keeps on thinking about the food. So how do you balance that?
So
How does that
this
work?
is basically we are talking of the people who are having minor woes. Okay. So their level is of that level that they are able to manage it. Whatever their mind control is so much that if they decide to do something, they are able to do it. Okay.
Okay,
And in case if they are not able to do it, there is a break of rules. Okay. So that can be again uh, that can be shared with your seniors, and they will give you pratikraman, price. So those that are called transgression. Okay. Dosh. Atichar. It is called atichar. Atichar means flaws, transgression. Okay. So that could happen. So up to certain level, it is again admissible. Your vows are not broken. But generally speaking, we should, like, supposing now you have taken your dinner and you're not going to eat for next 10 hours. You can take for that time also. You are eating, say, 5 kinds of vegetables a day. You can take that vow that I will not eat more than 10. So rest of the things you are not involved in violence in the rest of the things. Okay. So these kinds of vows, the householder who has taken a minor vows, he does take all these kinds of vows. Okay. But as a general person, even if we also take vows, it is going to benefit us. It's a kind of auspicious attachment. Okay. There is nothing wrong in it. On the contrary, you take small rules and then build it up and take larger rules. That is the way one progresses. Okay. But one thing is very certain, that you should have a first correct understanding. You should manifest right belief, and then all this in the conduct follows. Okay. So its illustration is as follows. Just as a person has not renounced harit kai means green vegetables. Okay. And at some time also does not consume harit kai. In the same way, a person has not renounced hinsa, and at some time also does not engage in hinsa. Yet since the existence of the inner disposition of committing hinsa has not been destroyed. Okay. This is called aviraman roop hinsa. So this was the first type, where you are not indulging actually in the activity, but since you have not renounced, you are uh, considered to be indulging in hinsa. Okay. The next is parinaman roop hinsa. At the time when a jeev engages through mind, speech, or body in the act of injuring another jeev, that is called parinaman roop hinsa. So this is very simple. Parinaman roop hinsa. You are physically injuring somebody. So there is no doubt about that there is parinaman roop hinsa. Okay. Here two divisions of himsa have been stated. In both these divisions, the presence of activity accompanied by pramad. That is the main thing. The presence of activity accompanied by pramad. If it is done without pramad, then it is not hinsa. Then physically you may not have injured, but psychically you have manifested violence. Okay. So now Parinaman Rup Hinsa. Here two divisions of Hinsa has been stated. In both these divisions, the presence of activity accompanied by pramad, negligence, exist. Therefore, in activity accompanied by pramad, the presence of injury to the pranas of another jiv is always implied. Okay. So when it is accompanied by pramad, the presence of injury to the pranas of another jiva is always implied. Its absence can occur only when this jiva, having renounced injury to others, does not transform into states of pramad. So long as pramad is present, the absence of hinsa cannot occur in any manner whatsoever. Okay. So long the pramad is present, the pramad, the attachments, the aversions, the passions, this auspicious, inauspicious disposition, alien disposition, everything you put it down. One bracket. Okay. So long the pramad is present, the absence of hinsa cannot occur in any manner whatsoever. Okay. If the pramad is not there and if there is a physical violence outside, then also it is not considered as hinsa. You are not binding new karmas. Okay. So the main point here is to emphasize on the inner disposition of attachment and aversions. That is the major hinsa. That is the sansar. That is the worldly existence. Now, if you get to go rid of this, say in the first place delusion, then avirati, okay, then pramad, kashay, yog, gradually you can get rid of this. Question: if himsa arises solely from one's own transformation in the form of pramad, then why is renunciation of external possession and the like parigrah is enjoined? Okay. If hinsa arises solely from one's own transformation in the form of pramad, pramad also attachment, aversions, passions, toxic emotions, all you put in one bracket pramad. Okay. If himsa arises solely from one's own transformation in the form of pramad, okay, then why is the renunciation of external possessions and the like parigrah enjoined? Okay. So if you are considering the violence as the transformation of pramad only, then why you are giving instructions to renounce the external possessions and other kinds of sins? Why? The answer to this is stated in the next verse, that is verse number 49. Certainly, even subtle hinsa does not arise in a person due to external objects. Okay. Nevertheless, the renunciation of sites of hinsa, renunciation of the sites means loci, okay, place, okay. So one which causes hinsa, that has to be avoided. Okay. But having said that, while defining hinsa, it doesn't say the physical violence at all. It says if you are manifesting pramad, if you are manifesting negligence, if you are manifesting attachments, aversions, passions, then it is hinsa. Although physically you may not have done any violence. Okay. But here says since the physical violence has a instrumental cause and effect relationship with the bhav hinsa, that's why that has to be renounced. Okay. Nevertheless, the renunciation of sites of hinsa means the places which causes hinsa, parigrah, is to be undertaken for the purification of one's transformation. Commentary. Go further down. Yes. Certainly, even the slightest hinsa does not arise in the Atma due to external objects without impurity of one's parinams. Even the slightest fault of hinsa arises due to an external object as a nimit. Okay. Without impurity of one's parinams. Okay. That means without manifesting negligence or passions, not even the slightest fault of hinsa arises. There is no hinsa at all. If you are without impurity, there is no hinsa at all. Okay. Without impurity of one's parinamas, not even the slightest fault of hinsa arises due to an external object as a nimit. From the standpoint of nimit nischay, this is indeed so. Okay. So from the real point of view, the manifestation of attachment, aversions, negligence is the cause of hinsa, and if you are not manifesting that, then you are practicing ahimsa. Very simple. Okay. Now, even so, for the purification of parinams, okay, the renunciation of the lossy of hinsa is to be undertaken. Lossy means place or the site. Okay. Bhavarth. Whatever parinams, that is disposition, arises deep, does so only by taking support of some object. If the son of a warrior exists for a warrior's mother, then such a parinam can arise as I shall kill the warrior. But one who is barren, has no son at all, how can such a parinam arise as I shall kill the son of a barren woman? Because a barren woman does not have any son. So saying that statement is a false. Therefore, when external parigraha and the like exist as nimitta, Kashai laden parinams, Kasai influenced parinams, disposition arise by taking support of them. But when parigraha and the likes have been renounced, how can parinamas arise without nimit, without support? Hence, for the purity of one's parinamas, external causes such as parigraha must also be renounced. Okay. So, in this particular verse, they are trying to explain that real sense, the violence is the manifestation of attachment and aversions. Okay. So, just because they are an instrumental cause of external possessions, so this internal disposition of pramad should also be avoided. Okay. So, if the external injury is not there, then accordingly the parinams, the disposition will also be not like that. Okay. This has been explained. Hence, the negation of the one side position is stated below. Okay. So one-sided position has been negated here. That's they are explaining. So this words has two meanings, and each meaning depicts a perspective. Okay. So two different perspectives. So let's read out first. One who not understanding nischay in its true sense. Okay. So one who is an ignorant, who doesn't understand the nischay in its true sense, nevertheless relies upon that alone with dogmatic certainty. What is this dogmatic certainty? Rigid certainty. Okay. Dogmatic is rigid certainty. That foolish person being indolent. What is this indolent? Indolent means alsi, pramadi. Okay. So the foolish person being indolent in external activity destroys conduct consisting of external practice. Okay. So he is an ignorant person, agyani, foolish person. Okay. So this alsi, indolence, is of two types. Okay. So we are discussing now two viewpoints. First one is from the Nischaya Bhasi point of view. Okay. The one who has not manifested the true Nai. Okay. But he feels himself that he is an expert. So that is called Nischaya Bhasi. Not knowing the real point of view clearly, but pretending that I am understanding the real point of view, is a person who is called Nischaya Bhasi. Okay. And the other would be Vyavara Bhasi. Now we will understand each one. Okay. That Jeev who does not know the true nature of Nischay and without knowing it adopts Nischay alone through mere Shraddha, conviction. Through mere Shraddha, conviction, accepting inner Hinsa alone as Hinsa destroys the practice of compassion, Daya. Such persons are ignorant. Okay. So one who becomes Nischayabhasi without knowing depth, it adopts Nischay alone. You have to strike a balance between real point of view and conventional point of view. And this fellow adopts only real point of view alone. Okay. Then accepting inner Hinsa alone is as Hinsa destroys the practice of compassion. So that person doesn't have any type of compassion. Okay. Whenever being merely a Nischay Shraddhani, one who holds conviction in real point of view says, what does it matter if I retain parigraha and the like, or engage in conduct of a corrupt kind? My parinamas should be proper. And saying so proceeds in a self-willed manner, swachandi. Self, he proceeds in a self-willed manner, not according to the scriptures, okay? Self-willed manner, that Jivas has destroyed the practice of compassion, okay? So he has destroyed the practice of compassion. Such a person has indeed become devoid of compassion outwardly. And since upon encountering internal nimittas, the parinamas inevitably becomes impure from the inner standpoint also, that person becomes devoid of compassion. Okay. What kind of jiv is such a one? Indolent with respect to internal activity, alsi. Okay. That is indolent and negligent in compassion towards other jivas in their external material form. The same aphorism is explained in another way. Now the second viewpoint. This is about Vyavara Bhasi, the one who does not know the conventional point of view properly. Okay. That Jeev who not knowing the nature of Nischay, 1 minute. And merely, you add one word, conventionally renounced. Not knowing the nature of Nischay adopts mere external, no, the second paragraph. That Jeev who does not know the nature of Nischayane and merely renounces, so merely after merely, conventionally, add one word, conventionally renounces. व्यवहार से conventionally renounces external parigraha and the like, adopts fasting and similar practices, and thus being indolent with respect to the inner reality while acting with notions of rejection and acceptance towards external objects destroys the ahimsa dharma that consists in Shuddhopyog as the experience of one's own nature. Okay. So two ways to depict the same thing. First one is that he believes only in the real point of view and does not believe in the conventional point of view. So in that scenario,
So Rashesh sir, are we then saying here that we are ignoring Anekantvad as well?
yes, he's having a one-sided belief. Either he is a Nischayabhasi, either he is only a real point of view believer, or he is only a conventional point of view believer. Okay.
Okay.
So one who does not understand Nischayana in its true sense, nevertheless relies upon that alone with dogmatic certainty, that foolish person, being indolent in external activity, destroys conduct consisting of external practice. So these kind of people, they are destroying they are destroying the conduct consisting of external practice. Okay. So they are not manifesting the passionlessness because they are ignorant. So either they are on the side of the real point of view only, or they are on the side of the conventional point of view. But the real thing is that you have to balance it out. Okay. So he is not balancing. He is inclined towards Nischay. So he is Nischayabhasi. And the other is inclined towards Vyavhar. So he becomes a Vyavharabhasi. Okay. What kind of a jiva is such a one? By exertion, such a person has indeed abandoned Ashubh-upyog, yet being indolent. Here indolent means satisfied. Okay. So such jivas has abandoned Ashubh-upyog, but being satisfied with respect to the means of dharma in the form of compassion towards the other jivas. So now this compassion is a kind of auspicious sentiment. Okay. So he has renounced the Ashubh Upyog, but he is indulging in Shubh Upyog, auspicious sentiment, and he is considering it as religion. Okay. So again, that's a wrong belief. Okay. So he is now satisfied. Being indolent, that here means satisfied. Okay. With respect to the means of dharma in the form of compassion towards other jivs, remains seated there and does not make the effort to ascend to the level of Shuddhupyog. So he is satisfied in the Shubhupyog and he does not ascend and go to the Shuddhupyog. In this manner, the one-sided positions are refuted. Okay. So now we are going to discuss 8 different types of modes of Dravya Hinsa and Bhav Hinsa, both type of violence, material violence, psychic violence. Okay. We'll be discussing one by one 8. Okay. Today we will be discussing the first and next week we will do the second onwards. Okay. So the first one we are going to discuss, it's the verse number 51. So one verse for each. So 51 to 58 are the 8 verse on different modes of violence, material violence and psychic violence, Dravya Hinsa and Bhav Hinsa. So 51 number verse, what it says, indeed one jiva becomes a recipient of the fruit of Hinsa. Okay. Even without committing Hinsa. So this is a typical scenario where one soul becomes a recipient of the fruit of Hinsa even without committing Hinsa, while another, even after committing Hinsa, does not become a recipient of the fruits of Hinsa. You will say this is absolutely wrong. One who is doing physical injury how can he be without hinsa? And the one who is not doing uh, physical injury at all, but still he is incurring the fruits of hinsa. Okay, so both the cases need to be understood. Let's read the commentary first, and then I will give 3 examples. Okay. Uh, Indeed, a certain jiva, even without committing external hinsa. So we are taking a case of a jiva who is not committing externally any injury, okay, becomes a recipient of the fruit of hinsa. Although he has not done any physical injury, but he still enjoys the fruits of the hinsa. Not enjoys, but he suffers from the fruits of hinsa. This is a typical case. And the other, Jeev may not have committed external hinsa. However, having transformed into states of pramad, attachments, aversions, desire, anger, greed, deceit, pride, all kinds of toxic emotion, that jiva experiences the fruit of hinsa at the time of fruition. Okay. So if you are transforming into the states of, that means if you are manifesting any kinds of passions, okay, you are committing hinsa in the first place, irrespective whether somebody is getting injured or not, somebody is dying or not. But since you have manifested negligence, you have manifested passions, so you are binding new karmas. Okay. By understanding this, you stop binding new karmas. You stop unnecessary manifesting passions. Yesterday we have a long discussion on this. Okay. There is no need. You can take things, understand it coolly, and then take calculative steps. You can very well explain your motive, your purpose. Okay. And if the other person understands, then it is good. If he doesn't understand, then it is his responsibility, because you have tried to explain, right? So this one, Bhavarth. Jeev may not have committed external hinsa, however, having transformed into states of pramad, that Jeev experiences the fruit of hinsa at the time of fruition. Okay. Another Jeev, now this same example, another Jeev, even after committing hinsa, does not become a recipient of the fruits of hinsa. So second one is the case of a monk who is carefully walking and an insect comes and dies. Okay. But the monk is not the recipient of the fruit of hinsa. Why? Because he was very careful in his conduct. Okay. And another person looking left and right, going through the road without looking down, small insects are there, ants are there, 2 cents, 3 cents beings are there. He's not looking at it. He's just looking here and there and there. Although he is not committed, although he has not killed any kind of insects, but still he incurs the fruits of hinsa. He's binding new karmas of hinsa. Okay. So this is, now we will see one example. So one example we have already seen, the monk and the boy. Boy looking left and right, not killing any animals, still he is committing hinsa, is binding new karmas for hinsa. And another person, that is monk, he is very careful in his conduct, and a small insect comes under his leg, under his feet, okay, and he is killed. So the monks are not responsible for it. They are not going to bind hinsa karma. Okay, they are not going to bind. So this was one example. The second example, many children play video games like snake, then he kills another thing, another thing. Now physically you are not killing anybody, but with the toxic emotions that you are manifesting, okay, the inauspicious sentiments that you are manifesting, maro maro, acha acha, good good, So all these leads to bondage of karmas. Okay. So this was the second example, video game. Now the third example. In a forest, a monk was meditating, and there came a lion. And lion saw the monk in a meditative pose. So the lion thought of attacking the monk because he was very hungry. So he thought, I would attack the monk and eat him. That was his plan. So the lion was already planning for this kind of action. And there was another, what you called, boar, B-O-A-R, male pig. Okay. There was another boar who was also seeing all this activity, and he wanted to protect the monk. Okay. So the moment the lion pounced upon that monk, the boar interfered in between. They had both a very fierce battle, and ultimately both of them died. Okay. But the lion went to the hell, and the boar, okay, the male pig, he went to the celestial being. So could you justify why so much of difference? Both were attacking each other, both were fighting each other, and both got killed. So one went to the hell and another went to celestial being. Why such difference? Any answers?
So the boar was trying to help somebody while the lion was trying to kill somebody. That's the
Yes. So in the case of lion, he was indulging in violence anyways by his anger. Okay. And the boar was also engaged in violence, but that of saying the monk. Okay. So both the intentions were different. And because of the intention only, one went to hell and another went to heaven being. Okay. This much is the difference. So it all boils down to your understanding, your intention, your attitude, how you take it. Okay. So this was the first of the 8 modes that are coming up. We will read the Bhavarth also. Jeev may not have committed external hinsa. However, having transformed into states of pramad, that Jeev experiences the fruit of hinsa at the time of fruition. Okay. Another Jeev, even after committing hinsa, does not become a recipient of the fruit of hinsa. Okay. So we have done 2 examples, first of the monk and then another boy. Okay. Just because he is not having pramad, he is not having passions internally, that's why he is not binding the karmas. Okay. So it's your internal understanding that matters. Okay. Based on that, 24 hours you are manifesting auspicious sentiments. If your understanding is good, if your understanding is correct, you are manifesting auspicious. Okay. So in the case of the male pig, that is boar, his objective was to save the monk. He thought that I don't want to disturb the monk. Let him meditate. Okay. And the case of the lion was, in the case of lion, he wanted to kill the monk and eat. So both were fighting. Both had the sentiments of killing each other. But nevertheless, one went to hell and one went to the heaven just because the intentions were different. Okay. One was having a pramad, attachment, aversion kind of sentiments. Intention was not good. The other's intention was good. Okay. So the difference in the fruits. Now, there are 8 in the line. So we will stop here. If you have any questions, I will take up. We will start from the second one, that is verse number 52 from the next class. Okay. So now if you have any questions, you ask me now. Otherwise, I will revise again. The main was the definition of the hinsa, violence. Okay. One of the best definition available in Jinagam, that any kind of attachments, aversions, and passions, auspicious, inauspicious sentiments, alien disposition, all kinds of passions are hinsa. Okay. And if you are not manifesting that, then it is called ahimsa. Very clear-cut definition. And based on that, all these 8 modes will be 8 bhang, 8 component will be explained, where they will show us different scenarios where the physical violence was done, but the psychic violence was not there. So he doesn't bind karmas for that. Okay, so different kinds of example, very interesting, very interesting examples are there. So that we will take up next week. Yeah, any questions?
Sir, may I ask a question?
Yes.
So, sir, what will we call this? Hinsa or ahimsa? Like, when the Jain students, they want to become doctors, and, as part of the medical, they have to do some dissections and all.
So
So, now will that be hinsa or will that be called ahimsa?
so that would be hinsa, because anyways you are not doing for any charity purpose, right? You are doing for your professional earning purpose. Earning itself is a hinsa. Why
But-
it is a hinsa? Because you cannot earn. It's all your past destiny that is coming up. But you feel that I can earn. So with that delusion is the biggest hinsa.
But
Right?
so that is to help the mankind, no? To just
So they are not working for free, no? They charge exorbitant fees.
sir, that every profession takes. I mean, like even the farmer would take.
So his
Rightfully
objective is
so.
not to serve the people. His objective is to earn money. Okay. Although he may be honest in his profession, he may not do wrong things in his profession, but nevertheless, his objective is to earn. So that is a kind of business enterprise for him. Okay. He's providing his services, his expertise, and in return, he is charging fees. So that is again a business, right?
Okay.
But sir, isn't it serving mankind and trying to help somebody? Money, it's a month, a little bit lesser, a
that is
milder
what the
thing.
Jain Dharma defines hinsa as. Even if you are trying to save somebody, if you are manifesting compassion, still it is a hinsa.
Oh no, wait a minute, sir. So if I'm having compassion for my patient, then I'm creating hinsa every day.
Yes, you should be neutral.
So neutral, how is it so? So how is it possible being neutral?
Like
If I
you
go
could be a
neutral, then
neutral. If you don't become a doer, you are a neutral.
no, it's a doership. It's not the doership. It's just like it just automatically comes in.
Yeah,
Especially
let it come. Let it come. You don't become a doer.
so not doership. Like how do I say? Like the moment if you see someone like in pain, or if you see someone being like being impaired, they're not able to move,
Right.
and so I'll give you an example. Basically,
Yeah.
if I have a patient who is half paralyzed, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are feeling the itch of a mosquito, but they can't move their body to itch themselves. That's basic. Like it's just karuna, sir.
Yes,
Like you
yes.
see them and you don't feel
So
bad for them.
karuna is again a passion.
But sir, वो कैसे अभी मतलब
So
I feel
that's how I define the definition, no? So this kind of definition is nowhere available. It's only in the Jainism that they define saving somebody from death is a hinsa. So that's why Vishnu Kumar was punished. Although he saved the lives of 700 munis, monks, you know. But at the level of monk, you should not have indulged in such activity. Right? So Jain,
that is because he left his
where
muni and he went.
all.
So he left his Munipan and then he went to save.
So
That
living
he
Munipant
left.
was
So
not a good
because he
decision.
left it.
So Munipant was not living Munipant is not a good thing, no? Because you have become monk, so you are detached now.
But sir, then society will become uncivilized, no? If nobody is
No,
different.
nobody. Now you have to understand that in your case, now you are having compassion with every patient, okay?
Yeah.
So do all the patients gets okay? Do all the patients survive? Even if you are with your compassion, the patient dies. So that
For
means
whom
you are
I
not
feel
the doer.
sorry then, sir. After that, I feel so sorry that, oh my gosh, I saw this person on Friday, Monday I come back, they're deceased. So I feel, at least for 2 minutes, I feel very sad.
So since like you are not the saver of anybody, right? If he's being saved, that is because of his IU is left over. It's not because you. On the contrary, you becoming a doer, uh, you are doing your own bad by becoming a doer.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, I'll probably go to hell with this rate.
No, you have to become only a knower, right? Bharat Chakravarti was married to 96,000. He had 96,000 wives, 60,000 children, 6 khand, and all the war he was doing. Okay, but he was not a doer, and that's why the day he initiated into monkhood, within 48 minutes he manifested Keval Gyan, omniscience knowledge. He never went for alms. He never had any inflictions. Nothing. How come? Because while living also that life of a Chakravarti, he was detached. So you also do whatever you feel like doing. Okay. Actually, you are not doing, it's happening, but you feel you are doing. So you don't feel that you are doing, it's happening. But that's all. So you remain a knower and not a doer.
Okay, sir.
So according to the situations, according to the spiritual stage we are in, we all manifest some form of attachments every now and then. Okay. But if you become a doer of those attachments, then it is a hinsa. If you don't become a doer of that attachment, then you are not committing hinsa. Simple. Okay. So whatever compassion, whatever your attachment with patient, that all are part and parcel of life. That is a part and parcel life of a paramedical people like you. Okay. There is no denying about that. But only thing is that you don't become a doer.
Okay, sir. So, sir, just I know we are very much out of time. Just a follow-up question, just for us to think about. We all have children. Now, when
Right.
children grow up, I'm thinking, what am I going to advise my daughter to become? Something like, on the lines
you work hard your daughter to instill in him the sanskars of Jainism. That is your prime, I would say, prime kartavya.
that
as
is
a
there,
parent.
but like the bread will not be earned by with
So
just that.
bread is being earned by the destiny, by luck. She will get married to such a family that she will never have to work.
Sir, I'm a feminist in that case. I don't want it to be that way. I mean, I want her, regardless, marriage, no marriage. She doesn't want to marry, no problem with me. Don't want to have kids, no problem with me. I just feel like she should be independent. The guy should come looking for her, not the other way around.
See, that all are, again, it's all past merits and demerits, What we are going through right now is all our past karmas that is coming up, right? It's not that we are doing it. We are not doing it intentionally. It's all coming up. So you don't have any role in the present because you are enjoying the fruits of your past karmas now. And whatever you are doing right now will bind your future karmas. Okay. So this cycle will go on. Now, if you want to break this cycle and come out of it, you take shelter of your soul and you become a non-doer. Okay. You believe yourself to be a non-doer. You are a non-doer. You believe yourself to be a non-doer. Okay. So all those four pillars of delusion, oneness, mindness, doership and enjoyership. These four you have to get rid of these four. Okay. So that much is only religion. So if you want to start religion, you don't have to do anything externally. What you have to do is your internally. And what you internally you have to do? You have to take shelter of your soul. How you can take shelter of your soul? By glorification of your own nature, right? I am pure, I am eternal, I am uninfluenced, I am independent. You go on listing your adjectives, who you are. So the moment you identify who you are, you will realize that you are a soul. And when you are a soul, you are only a knower and not doer. Okay. And there starts your journey. Then all other things will gradually fall, but you will not become a doer. As Chakravarti, he was so busy. 96,000 wives you can manage. But still, he was not binding karmas because he was detached, internally detached. He knew he is a pure soul, he is only a knower and not doer. So first we have to get rid of delusion. First we have to establish who am I? What is my true identity? How do I function? That much only if you answer, your definition is over. And now you consider yourself to be a soul and see things from that perspective and not from the perspective of a Priyanka, the mother, Priyanka, the doctor, the Priyanka, the businessman. No, not that way.
So, actually, practically, if you see, as a mother, she has to take care of a child and show her the
So who is saying to throw away your child?
no, not throwing away the child,
On the
but she.
contrary, if you realize yourself, you will be more responsible. Because now what you will do, you will be training her to be you will be giving him in sanskars of Jain Dharma from the beginning itself.
Sir,
Because
sanskar to we are already giving, but we need something to eat and to live. We can't expect
that is all
them to
destiny,
just,
no? That is all destiny.
sir, destiny we have छोड़ दो कर्म पर छोड़ दो तो then we'll get khana without eating itself. No, sir, that is
Nothing
not the
happens.
thing.
Nothing happens.
No, no.
Nothing happens.
No, sir, पुरुषार्थ तो करना ही पड़ता है, whatever
But
you
that is
say.
not the purusharth. That is the outcome of your past karmas.
How, sir? Without pursharth, we are not going to get anything.
So
You
in a
have to do
stock market, okay, you buy some stocks and the price rises by say 20%. So what purusharth you have done?
By buying it. If I sat
And
without buying it, that means what's the point?
Tomorrow it falls. What purusharth you have done?
Not pursharth, but at least I made the effort to buy. If it goes up or down, that's a karma. But
So
pursharth has
everything is
been done.
karma.
No,
Everything
sir,
is karma.
pursharth is done. If I wouldn't have bought, I wouldn't have
We
gained or
had,
lost.
I was a distributor for mutual funds, and our fund managers, they used to present us whenever a new scheme used to come up, they used to present us that this is the salient features of this fund. So then people will ask, what is your
They
take on the
tell you-
market? So
No,
they
they
used to
tell
say,
you to bring funds.
they used to say us that if I know what is going to happen tomorrow in the market, why I'm doing a job here? No one knows it, right? So it's all destiny. It's all destiny. You believe that you are doing, you are earning, but it's not. We are not the doer. It's all happening automatically. So first thing, let's declutter everything. First thing, you have to identify yourself. Now, if you are a soul, if you consider yourself to be a soul, then the next question comes, then what is your function? Priyanka's job is to take care of children, to earn. Okay, that's fine. But what is the function of the soul of Priyanka? What is the function of the Priyanka's soul? What is the function of your soul? What is the function of my soul?
That's
Tell
all
me.
to attain liberation, sir. That is the.
No, no. What
That
is the
is.
function? What is the function? Function means what you do. As a soul, what you do.
So, sir, just knowing and seeing, what you're
Knowing and
saying is,
seeing. So that you stick to that only and everything is fine. You don't
so,
become a doer. You don't go beyond knower and seer. That's all.
so to a lot of extent, it does give relief and reduces anxiety because
Yes.
that, wo bhar from the shoulders
Yes,
goes
yes.
away. But at the same time, I'm just practically thinking, like, we said any profession that brings less passions, or like, any kind of hinsa. I'm just thinking, like, in Jains, what should we consider as a good profession? Because see, even businessman, my dad was a businessman, and you were a businessman. Like, that
Yes, yes.
there's so much passion, like, payment nahi hua,
Yes, yes, yes. Definitely, definitely.
so
It's a part and parcel of our past karmas that will unfold, and it's different for different people. You cannot compare two people in the same profession, in the same age group, even both have different destinies, right?
okay.
So that is not something in our hand. What is in our hand is to identify yourself. The moment you identify yourself, you realize that, oh, I'm only a knower. So where is the tension? You tell me now.
No tension, sir. So basically, what you're saying is all we have to do
Uh-huh.
as Jain parents, basically,
Yes.
is to just, enroll our children in Pathshala, make sure they get the Jain
Yes. Work hard on that.
studies.
Even if you have to leave your Swadhyay for 1 hour, take her to Pathshala. Tell him good stories, moral stories. Shape his character. Make him ethical. Okay. All these are your primary responsibility as a parent.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So first,
I
if
digress.
the first, we say in Hindi that ek ghada ulta, to sab ghade ulte. So the first is you have to get rid of the delusion. You identify yourself, right? And then everything is settled. 4th stage to 14th stage, there will be so much of spiritual stages, but you are not worried because you are not the doer. There will be afflictions, there will be, upsarg, parisha, everything will happen. But the monk is not worried. Why not worried? Because he knows that I am only a knower and I am not a doer. That infliction is happening on the body and not me. That's how Yashodhar Muniraj was into meditation force. So you just consider the life of a monk. And we are only going to become monk. Your next life you become a monk. And you will get liberated. We all will get liberated. But first you begin with this, that you are a pure soul. And if I am a pure soul, my function is just to know and see. And I don't go beyond that. Although I have believed from time immemorial that I am the doer, but you don't become one. The fact is, the truth is that you don't become doer. So if you are able to settle here, then everything is good for you. And if you leave this and do 100 other things, then we are there only. Right? So see things from the perspective of a soul. You are a soul, I am a soul. So from the perspective of a soul, my function is just to know. So keep on knowing, no? Compassion coming, sentiments of compassion coming, know it. Don't become a doer. Feeling of attachment coming, don't become a doer. Let it come. No problem.
Okay.
Problem is there only when you become a doer. When you become one with it, when you say it's mine, when you say I am a doer, when you say I am an enjoyer, there is the problem. Otherwise, there is no problem. Each and every soul is Paramatma. Nothing less, nothing more. We are all equal. All the souls of the universe are equal. Not a single soul has got one more attribute than the other. Never. Okay, good discussion. But you analyze these things. It's not only for discussion, but you have to conclude from this discussion something, you write it down and then follow it up.
No, yes, sir. It goes in the background. Like, I mean, our discussions in the classes, no, it goes like on a record. It's
Yes.
it's not forgotten. But
you have to,
it's good to think about it. And
you have to
just,
retain it and
yeah.
develop it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना।